You're watching our first survival training video. My name is Lewis. Now I'm sure you're probably hoping to see lots of cool gadgets and fire starting and all that kind of fun stuff, and we will get to that. But for this video, I want to start off with the most important aspect of survival, and that is simply that survival is 75% mental. Now what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is that when you find yourself in a survival situation, you're going to need to count on a couple of key things. Those things are, don't panic. You need to be able to assess the situation and see what's going on and what are your pros, what are your cons, what's available to you. You need to be able to look at stuff and see that it can be used in a way that was probably never intended to be used. But now you're in a survival situation and this is something that can now save your life. So it's very, very good to be aware of what's around you, be able to look at junk and say, I can use this for blank. And then again, the most important thing in survival is just absolutely do not panic. That's the most important thing. For example, if you're out in the wilds, you go camping, you get off a trail, you decide you want to go do some sightseeing, an hour or 2 hours go by, suddenly you start realizing that you're not sure where you are. The most common thing that happens with people in that situation is they start to freak out. Now what happens when you start to freak out? Now you start walking faster. It's just a natural reaction. Well, if you start walking faster, now you're getting lost even more, even faster. So stop, slow down. Any situation you're in, just slow down, assess the situation, figure out, okay, where are you? If you're in the forest, you're in a snowy area, if it's an urban situation, where are you as opposed to, possible routes out of town or the possible safe spots where supplies possibly are. You want to start formulating a plan in your head and absolutely just make sure that in your head you say to yourself, this situation is not going to beat me. And keep that in your head at all times. Just keep telling yourself that. This is not going to beat me. I can do this. I can do this. I can survive this. Get yourself into that mental mindset and you'll be okay. Now, if you've ever watched shows like Man vs. Wild or Survivor Man, you know that odds are, if you're in a survival situation for a long time, you're going to have to do some pretty disgusting stuff like eating bugs or other things that normally would make you gag. But you're in a situation where these are items that can keep you alive. So your options are you can eat it or you can die. And you want to make sure that you have that survival instinct that tells you, you know what, it's gross, but I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to eat this and I'm going to survive. Don't get freaked out because you have to spend the night in some weird place. It's just the dark. Don't be freaked out about it. In fact, enjoy it, honestly. Just, relish what's around you. If you're out in the wilds and you get lost and you're in the dark, enjoy it. For one thing, look up. Check out the stars. See what they look like. See what the sky looks like when you don't have city lights around. Just use that as, a reference of knowing that if you're at home, you can look up and you can see these exact same stars. And probably there are people in the cities looking at the exact same stars. So just use that as kind of a comfort thing. And then anything that you come by that's useful, grab it. If you can carry it, grab it. I mean, don't, overload yourself, obviously, but learn to recognize anything that you can use and pick it up and grab it. Because the more tools that you have, the more resources that you have, the better off you are, the more comfortable you're going to be. And that's just going to help your mindset a lot. Because again, survival is 75% mental. So let's take it all from the top. First step, don't panic. Second step, assess your situation. Third step, see what's around you that you can use. Fourth step, figure out what you need to do. Fifth step, and this is mainly for really, really horrible situations, make the decision. Do you want to wait for somebody to come and find you? or do you want to go ahead and take it upon yourself to try and get yourself to where you need to be? Now this last one can be very tricky, because again, we'll throw it out in a wild situation. Say that you're lost, okay? When you're on your way somewhere, if you're going to go camping, you're going to go hiking, make sure that you remember. You don't have to remember exactly where things are, but remember at least where things like a main road are. So as you're traveling to your campground, just remember, okay, the road was east or west or south, and from there, at least you have a basic reference of, if I go south, I know there's a road there. Eventually, I just need to get there. So as long as you have knowledge of a direction, then if you can handle it, if you're in the mindset and you've got enough of whatever you need, or you know you can get it, then make the decision of, okay, I'm just going to go and I'm going to take matters into my own hands and I'm going to rescue myself. But be careful with that, because if anything goes wrong, now potentially people aren't going to know where you're at, and that can make things a whole lot worse. So just be mindful of the risks that you are taking upon yourself if you decide that you're going to self-rescue. So a good example is, and I love Bear Grylls, don't get me wrong, he's a great guy. He gives a lot of very useful tips. His shows are awesome. But the thing a lot of people need to realize when they watch stuff that he does is he's British Special Forces. He was highly trained to do these things. So when you see him doing things like, free climbing up a cliff, he was trained to do that. For the average person, especially if it's a person who's out of shape, a little overweight, not real strong in the upper body, if you try and free climb a cliff, odds are you're going to plummet to your death. So don't try stuff like that, because he said, oh, well, I saw it on this TV show. Yeah, no, don't try it. You're not trained to do it. Don't try it. So keep safe. Keep your mind about you. Assess, figure out what you need, and go from there. And just number one thing. Don't panic. You'll be okay. Just anytime your situation changes, assess it again. Say, okay, I have a storm rolling in, here's what I need. I got an injury, here's what I need. Anytime anything changes, just reassess, same steps, and go from there. But don't panic, you'll be fine. And the skills that we teach you, these skills will help you, and the more skills that you have, of course, the better off you are. So we will be, of course, teaching you things like, finding water, finding food, starting fire. We'll do some stuff on helping you to look at certain objects and say, okay, well, this is useful for this, or this, or this. But that's something that's really hard to train people for. It's something that you're really just going to need to get kind of good at yourself. And you can do that at home. I mean, you can look at things at your house and say, okay, well, there's a VHS player. If you happen to have a really old one sitting in the attic, because most people don't have them anymore. But say you have a VHS player, say, okay, well, I have a VHS player. That means I probably have VHS tapes around somewhere. I can pull the tape out. There's something I can use for recording, for tying stuff. It's little things like that. And we will definitely help to teach you. Alright, so I said we get to a little bit of gadgets so that you can have your fun. So once you get into these mindsets and you've got the mental down, then you can pretty much go into any survival situation and only need 3 items. It's great if you have more, of course, have a big survival kit, whatever. But if you have the mindset of a survivor, you really can go into it with 3 items and you'll be great. And those 3 items are a water bottle, and these old military style ones are great because they've got that cool metal cup inside so you can boil water. Of course, a good knife, And I always go with this style of knife because it's good, it's big, it's thick, it's heavy. You can use a rock to hammer stuff against it, so you can cut big branches off, whatever you need to do, and it's got the saw piece, which is great. And a fire starter, which in the case of this one, you got your knife, of course, you got your fire starter, you just like that. That's how you start your fire. Or you can actually scrape off some of your magnesium there, make a little pile of it, and those sparks will ignite it and make it easier. So once you get into that mindset of knowing that you have the skills, you have the knowledge, you're not going to freak out, you're not going to panic, you know how to assess your situation, find what you need, find your direction to go somewhere if you need to. These 3 items will be all that you'll need. 2 go on your belt, 1 goes in your pocket, travel light, move fast, and you'll be good to go. And of course, we will definitely do a video for a good survival kit for both, one that you would take out with you, and then just for having at your house, things to stockpile, good emergency supplies of that, and things of that nature for a much longer situation, for being stuck in a house or being throwing into a car to get out of town. We'll definitely go through all of that in future videos. So thank you for watching this video. Again, my name is Lewis, and if you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up, and go visit our pages both at the Survival Community and IRD Science Community, both on Facebook, and also give those a like, and share these videos out with your friends and family so that we can get more people in watching them and help as many people as we can with all of this knowledge. All right, have a good one, and we'll see you at the next video.